Buenos dias, ¿cómo estás, everyone? And welcome to Panama Forever. This morning, what we're going to do together, we're going to be creating the birth of my YouTube channel called Panama Forever. All right. The reason for that, I like probably a lot of y'all, I love to watch a lot of stuff on YouTube. And I am an expat down here in Panama. And I'm in a very special place in Panama called Pedasi Panama, which is in a Saguaro Peninsula. I believe that's how it's said. And my house here is about 1.5 miles from the beach. And it's just a really laid back beach town. Through watching a lot of videos and so forth, I got enough to know that, hey, I wanted to be there. And so whenever I got here, I've been here as an American expat for 4 months. And I have recently just been linked up with a lot of very prominent Panamanian and American expat entities. And the one thing that I've just kind of noticed is that, you know, everyone, whether they're wanting to come vacation or whatever, I'm like, there needs to be a YouTuber down here, you know? I was like, just to take this place apart and really give a little bit more content, okay, vice just somebody driving from one end of the town and popping in. And that's what I'm gonna try to do with this channel. First, we're gonna take Pedasi Panama apart. And in addition, you know, I'm going to give a lot more content traveling in Panama. And I can't go further without saying the word Mexico. All right. Let's go ahead and step back. I'll tell you who I am, and I'll show you and explain kind of where I am here at this point as American expat. And yep, I'm not going to let you go without giving you a little actual footage of Pedasi. Okay, so we've got that towards the end. I'm from Milton, Florida. Fast recap, 3 years in the Army, 17 Marine Infantry, and yeah, that equals 2 boot camps. Don't recommend that to nobody. Pushing forward, very blessed to have the opportunity to go to college. That was probably one of the scariest days of my life, stepping into college at 42, English 101. But they accepted me in their fold because I was young at heart. Did 1 year at a small school, Texas A&M Commerce, and then I'm like, man, I was like, I want to go to big game day, so pushed on out and finished everything up about 3.5 years at Texas Tech. So, and then I went into the Forest Service, and I was stationed at Land Between the Lakes National Recreation. It flows from Tennessee all the way up into Kentucky, and I managed the good side. I managed the Tennessee side of a largest campground in the U.S. Forest Service called Piney Campground. Had just a blast. After that, 5 years there, I transferred within the Forest Service. I had to go to Juneau, Alaska, you know, and did there for 2.5 and pulled back into Tennessee for 2.5. And then, you know, I had a brush. I had rubbed my elbows with Mexico in the early 2000s, and you know, I did obtain a wife from Mexico, brought her across, and I was Marine Corps in Southern California, and you know, we were in base housing, and you know, north of San Diego, so I got to go to Rosarito, Tijuana, you know, a little bit safer possibly back then. And so I'm a little bit more foundation. I'm finishing up with the U.S. Forest Service. I was having a house built, and the contractor said, "Hey Rick, so what color you want your interior walls?" I said, "Okay, I'll get back with you." And I had everything else pretty much laid out how I want it, and I started thinking about the kitchen, you know, and man, I was like, Mexican kitchens, and you know, the traditional. I said, them things, they're sharp, they're pretty cool. And but I was wise enough not to paint the walls yellow or orange, which you know. And so living in Tennessee. And so the next step is why I'm sitting here in Panama talking to you. The problem that I had, you know, getting it kind of wound up thinking about, my interaction with Mexico and everything, I went and Googled living in Mexico, and that it just snowballed. I Googled that the summer of 2023, and that December 2023, I went in to do a recon, fly down to La Crucecita, Mexico. It's in the state of Oaxaca, beach town. It's so beautiful. And everything just lined up. And, I got lucky. This is my Mexico resident visa. It's very convoluted. It doesn't make any sense, the process. But whenever, I was chosen for one, I knew how important it was, and I'm not letting it go. I have to go back to Mexico next month. I'll fly into Mexico City and push on down to La Crucecita and go through the process, to renew it. I like, when I get off the plane, I like walking in the resident line. I'm able to do that a few times here in Panama. So that's a little bit about the Mexico side of the fence. And then, there's so many YouTubes out there, and I contacted Miss Jackie with the Panama relocation guide the other day because I could not kick off my YouTube channel, Panama Forever, without getting her blessing. She's like the big door for everyone coming to Panama. And I said, hey, Miss Jackie, I said, I want to give you a shout out and everything on the, she said, go for it, Rick. I said, glad that you're doing so. Okay. And so, and there's a lot of other entities, and we're going to kind of recap towards the end, all the specifics and everything. Again, this video is for the person at home that just wants to enjoy watching the content. The person at home that may want to decide to come vacation in Panama, may want to come down to the Pedasi area. And 3, somebody's making the decision where you're going to live in Panama. And hopefully by me taking that extra step and taking things apart for you, it may give you some idea like, okay, let me go ahead and start here. Okay, let's back up a second. Okay, everything, fast forward 4 months in Mexico. I was in Missouri for 2 months, and then, I had the problem again. I can't stay away from watching YouTube. I watched Laptop Seniors interview Mariana with Lambogia Law out of Panama City Immigration. And she had so much charge, so much energy that, and honestly, I was in the U.S. I said, I'm going to get bored here. And so that was it. I did my things that I needed to do fingerprint wise and all that. Bought my ticket the next week. Never had traveled to Panama in my life, and just went with it. I've been kind of lucky in those aspects. And yesterday, I was able to get my permanent jubilado visa. For those of you that are not familiar, it's a retirement visa. So I can live in Panama the rest of my life. If I leave Panama, then I must come back and visit or come through customs once every 2 years. But this is, like I say, why make a channel unless it's going to be forever, Panama forever. And so that's where I am with things. Flying in, I set up my Airbnb, all right, in Pedasi. I was like, well, I was intelligent enough because I didn't have a vehicle. You got to do some steps. It was just a lot of different steps involved whenever you're going and you have your temporary visa at that time. If you're coming down here to travel and visit, you're good. Grab your rental and go have fun. And so I knew that I wanted to live at least close enough to a little supermarket, right? And so I found my Airbnb and communicated with the Airbnb host. I said, yeah, I'm moving Pedasi. And so she is so incredible. Her name is Hilly. Her husband is a contractor, and he built like 5 houses here, and he does a lot of projects over in Vanau, the famous beach area, and we'll kind of cover that a little bit later. And so, and you know, her personality, who she was. I told her a couple of weeks ago, I was like, you know what, Hilly, I tell people that if I had a sister in life, another sister in life, I would want her to be just like you. She was like a big sister and stuff to me. And there was not a question. She'd always make sure I had the answers before I even asked the questions about anything. So I was so blessed. I had such a soft landing here, and you know, everything has just been incredible. And like I said, I had the aha moment. I'm like, you know what? I was like, there needs to be a YouTuber here in Pedasi to really do a deeper dive into the different entities, you know, here in Pedasi, and also, you know, right down the road from now, I got to meet a 2-time longboard world champion the other day. His nickname's the Black Pearl, and so cool dude, you know. And so just like you know, so yeah, I'll do an interview with him one day and stuff. And so continuing on, just you know. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to have fun. We're going to have fun. We're going to talk about Pedasi, the local areas, and then we're going to also bounce into Mexico next week. And you know, I'm thinking about, you know, other areas, and I won't even name those, you know, over in Europe and stuff, and you just kind of volley back and forth. And like for right now, you know, we're going to focus on Pedasi. We're going to take it all apart, put it back together, all the little entities. You know, the next video is going to be on a very famous fonda. They call fonda a restaurant called Chichimitos, something like that. All right, and we're going to go over there and do some filming there, and actually going to try to talk to the owner. And I asked her the other night, I was like, let me ask you this. I was like, why is this such a great, one of the best? And she said, yep, their staff, one of their staff members been there for 10 years. So they just rhythm and their ingredients and all of that. So we're going to unpack that later. Okay. Lastly, one of the things I want to go ahead and kick off for you guys, and I'm going to have the links below. If you're choked up on the back and you're starting to go through your expat application process, your resident visa processes, okay, to live in Panama, let's make eye contact real quick, okay? What you want to do is go to Lambogia Law, and you want to go through Mariana. All right, why? Because her mother has been doing immigration and property law for a long time, you know, in Panama City. And if you don't believe me, I dare you, go to Laptop Seniors channels and where they interview her, and the same person that they interview, that fire, that energy, that concern, that caring, that's the person that's going to be across from your desk whenever you land there. And they can do everything, help you with your visa, driver's license, you know, cedula, the whole 9 yards. The next thing I'll recap, Amy in Expat Spanish. All right, she was very important for me to learn my Spanish. Her Spanish course online, you have videos you watch, you have a little homework, and guess what? You have a group live session once a week if you're in some of the lower levels, and then twice a week if you're in the upper levels where it's fast pitch. And the main thing about Amy, and I've always told her, I was like, and it's called Expat Spanish, you know, so it's not, it's wonderful for a 21-year-old in college to take, because they're you know, it's nice and slow and simple, all right, and that's the expat side of it, is that it's like it's little baby steps. Yeah, and it makes it enjoyable to learn at that slower pace. She does an incredible job. When I first linked up with her, she sent me an introductory screening exam. You know, so I'm just kind of filling out what I knew, the answers to this thing. You know, and then sent it to her. We had our interview, and she says, "Okay, Rick, I think you're at level 2." She says, I feel comfortable go ahead and putting you in there. Had a little bit Spanish before. I'm like, okay. And so she was able to take all my pieces to the puzzle, put them together, and she took that, you know, I mean, I learned The upper level is all the conjugations of the verbs. I got to practice them because a lot of times I'll just throw something out there in the street or in the store. But it's so incredible, the attention to detail, and it's just a lot of fun. The group lives. You're with 4 to 5 people a week, and you're like, okay. I'm not the only one struggling. You kind of struggle together on all of them, and but they're so mentoring. It's just a wonderful experience. If you want to get on a plane and come down here to Panama to go on vacation, just one of the other Duolingos or something like that might do you okay. If you're back home and you just want to learn Spanish, you don't have to take the full year like I did. They're in different levels. They're like 2 months or almost 2 months, for a level, and it's just incredible. All right, and if you're an expat looking in a place to land and you need a tour of Pedasi, I did tours with the relocation tour of Pedasi with Eddie and Heidi. All right, the coolest thing about them, Eddie had been interviewed on the Panama Relocation Guide, and actually that's why I'm sitting here right now, was because I could sense her truthfulness. I could sense it, and just a very honest, great person. And I'm like, okay, I'll land. I want her in my corner if I need. And so they don't just have a standard tour. She said, they would tell you, what are you looking for? Where areas would you like? They catered it just to me. I said, well, I'd like to do this, that, and the other. And then boom, we did it. And it was just so fun hanging out with both of them all day long. And the greatest thing, all right, guess what? When you leave the course or leave the tour, you got something come up, next week, then just drop her a message and she'll help you, find the answers. Just incredible. All right, lastly, I will not leave without mentioning my incredible landlord. This house here, 2 bedrooms, 2.5 bath. It's $1,000 a month. There are a lot cheaper. There are a lot more expensive units, but for me, this is a good fit. I love waking up, and I really like, my place here. When I was in Mexico, I vivo en un lugar $514 a month, but I loved it because, for me, and I'm just sharing this with you, I ain't moved to Mexico to live a resort. I moved to Mexico to live with the people, and it was just a wonderful experience. And so, enough said on that, but if you're in the market and you need information on something that my landlord has available, let me know. And if she don't know, she'll find out. She's been here for 15 years, and it's so cool whenever I'm anywhere in town and there's a little confusion about, whatever it is, I throw the name down, Hilly, bam. And it's just so incredible to have this support network here. It's just awesome. Okay, without further ado, I've got you some actual footage, the introductory footage of Pedasi Panama. I filmed a few days ago. I got up and I walked to my gym where I worked out, and we're going to do a dive. We're going to do a video on the gym too. And but yeah, it's just kind of give you a taste of Pedasi Panama. And and like again, remember, this is the birth of Panama Forever, and I'm so glad and happy. I'm going to be showing it to family and friends. I need you to please like and subscribe for me. And again, thank you for being here, and just hang on, because we're going to have a whole lot of fun on this channel. All right, y'all have a great day. I was not going to do an interview with y'all and not let y'all see Panama, all right? And so this is one of the things that I love to do. Get up in the morning and go to the gym, start the day off, or luckily I've got a beach, a playa, about a mile from me. That's where I get to go and do my walk run and everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut off and on the way to the gym. We're gonna take a look at the gym, and we're gonna talk a little bit about the gym when we get there. Stay tuned. All I'm gonna say is Usain Bolt. All right, and then I'll kind of explain a little bit about that great name when we get there. All right. Okay, we'll do a little bit of narrating right here. Guess what? We've got ourselves a house for sale down here in Pedasi, Panama. There's a couple of different really awesome, incredible real estate brokers. All right. One, I believe, is from Canada, and the other one is from Panama and the United States. Kind of like a team. And so this is where I start my day, about 3 days out of the week. Just a nice little walk. I'm say probably about 7 minutes from the house to the gym, you know. So we're going to continue to cut in and out. All right, continuing on, getting a little bit more footage. We're really close to the gym now. All right, and I'll kind of learn how much interactive mi pipoles de Panama quiera hable. All right, how much they want to interact with YouTube. So yeah, like I say, it'll be a learning curve. We'll figure it all out together. So this is a little gymnasium basketball court they've got, and we've got ourselves a statue here of a significant figure. I haven't really taken the time to read or nothing, so I'm sure that it's something significant. We'll figure that out. One thing that I do want to do is I want to go ahead, and if you're visiting, if you find the gym, the basketball gym with the statue, okay, it's kind of like a little spur road to get to Shaq's gym. And we'll go ahead and talk about the word Usain Bolt. Shaq, from I've been explained, has he's been a part of training and assisting in different physical aspects of Olympians. And 2 days ago, I heard the word Usain Bolt. I was like, that's pretty cool. All right, but no, it's a nice little simple gym, and we'll kind of slide on in there and show you where many of the days begin. But as you can kind of perceive, it's kind of a nice, relaxing, quiet morning, and that's pretty much the way it is in general. All right, so all right, we'll continue on. We're gonna turn right in here. All right. All right, everyone, we are in the town square. All right. It's very, like I say, I'm gonna narrate as if no one has ever went to a Latin country. It's always, town square is always near the church. And so one day we'll take a deeper dive into the church and so forth. All right, and this morning we've got one more thing that, good workout. This morning we've got one more thing that I cannot post this first video without, and it's the signature Pedasi sign. So a little bit further down the road here, we'll take a glimpse of that, and then we'll close this, the birth of Panama Forever chapter out on the first video. So I'll see you in just a second. Okay, right now we pretty much got the center of Pedasi on the main road. All right, and you'll be able to see that is the big Pedasi name sign. Let's see, spin around here. Get it in the background a little bit for you. If sometimes it looks like I don't know what I'm doing, you'd probably be right. All right. In closing, hey, welcome along to this journey. We're going to have a lot of fun. My first goal is we're going to take Pedasi apart, and then we're going to put it, hopefully we can put it all back together and capture all of the main significant things out here for all of you that first just want to travel down and visit Pedasi, and then two, take a harder dive into making the move, possibly living here or somewhere else that I might be able to help you out with. Okay, well that's it. That's a wrap for first video of Panama Forever. Thank y'all for being here, and we'll see you next time. Please like and subscribe, and let's take this thing down the road.